your college in Taiwan? All
So
good?
student, it's okay.
It's rainy or how the weather there?
Yeah, I mean my office.
The weather rainy or ice in Taiwan?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, good luck. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm nervous on English.
Okay, so we will start. And good evening to everyone joining us from Indonesia, Taiwan, or different part of the world. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to warmly welcome you today to international webinar called Framework of Assembly Acts in Indonesia and Taiwan. We are truly honored by your presence and participation. My name is Azria Amira Putri from the Commission for the Disappearance and Victim of Violence or Contrast, and I will be serving as your moderator for today's session. Before we begin, allow me to briefly go over some few points. First, this webinar will be held in English and being recorded live on YouTube and Zoom. And please don't hesitate to ask on the live chat, on both platforms, as we have a session for question and answer later. You can ask at any point of the discussion, and I will gather all the questions at the end. And thank you for the cooperation. And I would like to first tell you about the introduction of the issues of this webinar. And Taiwan and Indonesia both transition from authoritarianism into democracy, their protection of assembly right differs greatly due to their institutional culture. Taiwan successfully moved from decades of martial law to a right-based society because it could actively limit police power. By ruling that protest restriction must be proportionate, Taiwan's judiciary forced law enforcement to treat democratization as legitimate democratic expression rather than security threats. Consequently, events like the 2014 Sunflower Movement were handled as valid participation, reflecting a professionalized police force that prioritized facilitation over suppression. In contrast, Indonesia's process remains incomplete. Although the post-1998 legal framework recognized the right to assembly, law and enforcement often retains a security-oriented mindset inherited from the New Order era. Recent data shows high rates of arbitrary arrest and violence as police frequently use rigid regulations to criminalize protests as public nuisance. Without the strong judicial oversight and institutional professionalism, Indonesia continued to struggle with outdated command and control tactics that undermine international human rights standards. Next, I would like to introduce our speaker today. We have Wang Xi, a Deputy Secretary General in Taiwan Association for Human Rights or TAR. She is Taiwanese and started working at TAR in 2016. The right to assembly and association is the main issue she has worked on, and she also handles cases work at TAR, an independent NGO founded in 1984. Today, TAR addressed broad range of human rights issues, including the right to assembly and association, digital rights, fair housing, refugee and stateless issues, migrant fisheries forced labor, business and human rights, personal freedoms, international human rights standards, and the threat of Chinese imperialism. Second, we have Javier Maramba from Division of Research from Contrast. Javier is currently studying for Master in Law at Gajah Mada University and a staff member in the Research and Documentation Division of Contrast, a non-governmental organization. Contrast was formed as a commission and dedicated to handling cases of enforced disappearance and victim of violence, but over time, Contrast expand its work to address various forms of vertical and horizontal violence such as torture, unfair trials, civil liberties, and other violations across different regions in Indonesia. And last, we have Muhammad Isnur, Chairman of Indonesian Legal Aid Foundation or YLBHI. He's a lawyer and human rights activist who currently serves as chairman of the Indonesian Legal Aid Foundation for the 2022 until 2026 term. Previously, he was active at the Jakarta Legal Aid Institution or LBH Jakarta since 2007, where he advocates for human rights violation and public policy. Muhammad Isnur earned bachelor degree in Islamic law from the Faculty of Sharia and Law, Syarif Hidayatullah State Islamic University or UIN Jakarta in 2007 and Master of Law from Pancasila University in 2023. In 2024, Isnur received the IKALUIN or UIN Alumni Association Award in the Law and Human Rights category. He stated that his award demonstrates his commitment and support for the struggle for humanity and justice. Without further ado, I would like to invite Javier for the first speaker, and the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Amira. But I think I wanna send some PowerPoints. Can you let me to present it?
Yes, sure. Please try it.
Wait. Hmm, How can I? Or can you help me? Just present the PPT.
Okay, sure. Can you send me the PowerPoint?
I've already sent you on Signal.
I don't think so.
Wait a minute. Nah, what am I presenting right now? How is it? How is it? Am my screen? I don't hear your voice. I don't hear your voice, Amira. You may be muted.
Okay, I can help you. Mm,
Okay, guys. Before Amira starting to present it, once again, thank you for inviting me. My name is Javier, as what Amira said earlier. I'm the staff division of research and documentation. So I'm in charge to creating some analysis or researching an issues for in contrast core issues, including the human right violations such as torture, death penalty, or freedom of assembly and civil liberties, and also the civic space that we're gonna talk in right now. Uh, I just gonna presenting as I said, I saw in the terms of reference that we're gonna talking about how do the civic space condition in Taiwan in Indonesia, especially in Indonesia for me in 2025. So I made the presentation as I'm just reporting how contrast monitoring the civic space and time through the authoritarian turn years or 2025. Okay, can you next, Amira? Thank you. Okay, first, the background of this report is including all of the human rights issues in 2025. We are launching it on 10th of December. This is regular every year and yearly publication from Kontras called Catatan Hari HAM, or in English is Note for Human Rights Day. So last year we take the catastrophe of human rights as a title of this critical note, because in the past 12 months there are so many human rights violation, and there are so many shrinking civic space momentum as we moving from the beginning of the 2025. We as a public could see how militarism is brought back by the Indonesian president that was a former military, especially in Timawar or Kopassus. So we're not gonna very surprised if he brought back the military paradigm into the civil and human right based government. And through the 12 months, next, Amira, there are 8, next again, there are 8 large scale of demonstration. And what we have found is there is 205 cases of civil liberties violation. In civil liberties violation, we monitoring the severity of violation, the victims, how much, and then we also monitoring the violators or the institution that making the violation. You can move forward. Okay. Now, from the institution, there is a list of civil liberties violators. We found that from 2,205 cases, police officer, or in Indonesia official police, or in Indonesia we call it Polri, Kepolisian Republik Indonesia, is the most actors that commit the civil liberties violation. That almost the 90% of the cases is done by the police. So we could see the gap from the police and the military, or even the government or local government. And we also have found that 20 cases is do or done by unidentified person. So throughout 2025 is there are so many clash between the citizen, the civilian, and the police throughout the 8 large demonstration. And then you can next. This is what we are found after the monitoring. Now, we found that from the 205 cases, those 205 cases, there are more than 5,000 victims. We are aware that these numbers is maybe far below the actual number, but this exact number that we can verify. The specific is 4,291 victims who are being arrested. There is 661 civil is injured by the police officer and the other institution, and especially in 25 until 31 August mass protest, there are 7 deaths. Nah, maybe that we're gonna highlight is there are 8 large demonstration. First, we have Indonesia Gelap, and then followed with revision of Undang-Undang TNI protest, and then there are May Day protest on 1st of May, and then followed by the large scale of mass protests in August to September. Nah, you can next, Mira. The typology of the civil liberties violation, or the type of the rights that has been violated, is most of them is the civil liberties violation, especially in peaceful assembly or in context on demonstration or mass protest. We could see the arbitrary arrest is taking the first place, the typology of civil liberties violation from 200 cases. But these numbers can be found, or at least, and in one cases there are 2 type of violation. So the example is like an arbitrary arrest and torture, also arbitrary arrest and criminalization. So from those 205 cases, here is the list, the type of violation that done by the police. So first is arbitrary arrest, and then followed by unlawful dispersal from the demonstration, and third is excessive use of crowd control weapons like tear gas, like water cannon, and so on. And also we also saw the criminalization is maybe a rise from this year. This is especially targeting the human rights defender, especially from the hotspot of the mass protest like Jakarta, Bandung, from West Java, and then like Semarang and Jogja. So the pattern of this of last year is the police officer not only using physical attack, but also do the what we like to call judicial harassment. So they are using the judicial system and the norms, the criminal code to and then repress, especially the human rights defender. Maybe you can next, Mira? And not to mention the terrors and intimidation, even if it's not physically, but it's so many cases that done from the last year. First, on March, maybe it's related to the revision of Undang-Undang TNI or military law. There are so many terrors and intimidation, not for only just the people or the individuals of the human rights defenders, but through but also the organization that they are working at. I can talk the example like Contras. Contras is one of the target of terror and intimidation. On the on a medium of March to April, the military is quite regularly watching and monitoring our office, and it's indicating that they are gonna show their intimidation and terrors, so that the work of Contrast is quite be slow or hold. Nah, but the terror and intimidation is still continuing until December. Last December, there are terrors, and maybe it's could be qualified as attempt for murder, like they're targeting DJ Doni, that his house is thrown by Molotov from some random guys who's strolling around uh, on the dawn. But here's the thing. In 2025, there is so much a new pattern, like use of judicial harassment and terror. But I think it's related to the regime, because the bare minimum of what have state have been guaranteed is the right to protection and the right for the safety. So if they cannot assure that, and the judicial process of the cases of terror is not showing any progress, that could be very questionable. Okay, so this is the geographical distribution of civil liberties. As we can see, Jakarta is the most hottest place for civil liberties violation, and followed by 4 places in Java, like Central Java, or in Semarang City, West Java in their capital city is Bandung, East Java in Surabaya, and the 5th place is South Sulawesi in Makassar, South Sulawesi. But also in Papua there are also 13, including the whole land of Papua, that I believe that is very below the real number, the real exact number. But as we know that the Papua is having their problem with the limitation of press or the limitation of internet. So the news is not as popular and not as widely opened as in Java or other places. Maybe next, Mira. Now, I'm gonna focus on 25 until the 31 August mass process. This is not specifically monitored by Contrast, but I take these numbers from GMLK, or Youth Movement. What is it? Youth Movement Against Criminalization, or GMLK, or in Indonesia called Gerakan Muda Melawan Kriminalisasi. Now, there are 652 political prisoners that spread out in so variative province in Indonesia. And next, until next again, until the 31 of December, until the moment of changing the new year, there are 522 political prisoners were arrested. 88 being sentenced guilty. 17 was released and or still under supervisor. 1 dead in prison, and 24 unidentified until now. So you can move back, Mira. And there are serious problem with human rights defender criminalization, because it's not only targeting the activists or journalists. Right now, they are targeting also the indigenous people. Therefore, for a specific issue like proyek strategis nasional or what is it called, agraria, for the land and the conflict of the land. And then there are interesting pattern that is found on May from the May Day demonstration, that the police officer not only targeting the protesters, but they are also targeting the paralegal and the paramedic that support the protester. So they are targeting the strategic position that help the protester to maintain their protest. So it makes their job is much easier, because the demonstration is gonna be relatively short duration if the paralegal and the paramedic has been torn down. So they are finding the new formula to disperse officially unlawfully. And then they are targeting journalists also. Like we are remembering that on March also there are 3 terrors in a short-term duration. They're targeting the Cica from Tempo. They're targeting for Tempo itself as a media, and then they're targeting for the Hussein Abri in also Tempo. So they are targeting the journalist who is always produce the fake news about I mean factualness on the alternative media. You can next, Mira. Again next. Nah, Contrast is also opening the post or uh, the missing person or enforced disappearance commission on demonstration in 25 until the 31 August. That from the commission is we have received the 44 reports that 34 cases or 34 person that have been reported missing is confirmed as a short-term enforced disappearance, and then found in police station or in local police station or some places that could be considered as a jail. And then 10 of them just confirmed as a missing person. Next, Mira. The conclusion is like I said, that is there are few new patterns that used by the regime to suppress the criticism of the public. First, they use terrors and intimidation that obvious, like sending the head of the pig, or terror like throwing the private house of the critics with Molotov. And then those method is not appear, or maybe less appear in 2024. So the projection, you can next, the projection is those methods are gonna still continuing, and at least until the 2026. So maybe that's all what Contrast have been monitoring and see as a conclusion and projection to this year. Maybe we can discuss more later, and thank you very much for the kesempatan. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Javier, for the discussion. We did explore about the list of civil liberties situation where police was the main human rights violators, and we also found out that the condition of the victims during the protest this year, that there was 5,000 victims was arrested, and the typology of the civil liberty violation was dominated by arbitrary arrest and followed by unlevel dispersal and excessive use of crowd control weapon. And there was a new pattern, especially in 2025 and 2026, where the government used judicial harassment and also attack strategic position like medical personnel. Maybe next we can move into Wangxi for the current civic space situation in Taiwan and also the legal framework in granting civil liberties.
Hello. Is it clear? Okay. Good night, everybody online. And I'm Wang Xi from Taiwan Association for Human Rights and working on the issue of the assembly and association and also some of the case work in TAR. And I think I'm gonna have one question. So I'm going to finish everything or maybe still separate into two parts.
You can finish everything you have.
Okay.
Yes.
No problem. Okay, then I will going to introduce two parts. The first part will be that a very brief introduction of the protest, the condition of protest in Taiwan, and the second will be the law framework of the assembly law in Taiwan. And so, okay, I will going to share the screen first. 是存 Okay. Then, okay, let me know if there's anything wrong. And I'm going to start. Wait. 好抗议。Sorry, I want to have a full screen, but okay. Okay, so I'm going to tell an example that happened during 2018 to 2020, 20. And this is a case about one of the regulations amendment and also what we have done to protest against the amendment of that little regulation. And then because I think this is actually a small action and it didn't succeed, but there's also nobody being arrested during all this action, but they also show some of the feature that right now the assembly, the protests that happen in Taiwan. So I will take this as an example. Okay, so back to 2018, actually there are some news and you can see the two pictures. I think you can recognize that this is the flag of the China government, CCP. And this is some of the supporters that are saying that we should be unified with China, like this person. They go to the Jade Mountain, which is this rock, and this is the mountain, the highest mountain in Taiwan. So they also have many social meaning for Taiwanese people to think it's a very holy place. And so at first this news had came out and people think that this CPP, this China supporters are pollute the mountain. And then there are also the other part of a person. Actually, this is one of politician in Taiwan, and they are supporting the Taiwan independence, and which is actually a different part from only supporting the Republic of China, so-called the former name of Taiwan. But basically, these are two very upside claiming about what the Taiwan should be, identity should be. So after this series of the news came out, and then people are arguing about whether we should let the people to go to the Jade Mountain Park, because Jade Mountain is also a national natural park. So people are talking about whether we should let people to go into the mountain, and that's like express so many things about the people's political opinions. So after this series of the news, the authority of the national park, they amend a series of the regulation. The name of the regulation is called prohibit activity regulation in the dominant of blah blah national park, because there are like 10 to 11 national parks. So for example, like Jade Mountain, there will be like prohibit action regulations in the dominant of the Jade Mountain National Park. And every national park have their own regulation, and they all have this new article saying that political activity and actions with the potential to cause social disputes or conflict are prohibited. So which means that actually prohibit every activity like this and this, because they are all very conflict in the society, so they are all not allowed. So after this amendment has been announced, then we have hold a press conference, then which is this picture, and this picture is being found in the textbook later, but I will just use this picture. And we try to express our opinion against this regulation, because we think that after the regulation has passed, they will maybe become forbidden for some of the very specific people to express their opinion in the national park. The first part, we found some of the friend of the NGO of environment, and also the friends of the indigenous people, because indigenous people, they are many of them are actually have the traditional indigenous people's area. They are highly cover highly the same area like the national park, because there are many of them in the mountain, and there are also the area that traditionally the tribe they are. So many of actually people may also still want to express their opinion during it in that area, and also the people they may have the environmental issue during that area. So we have hold this press conference and try to express our opinion, but actually the regulations still didn't change their policies to still forbidden the same regulation. So after 1 year, in 2020, we try to hold an event, and we say that, well, so since there are still right now there's a regulation that forbidden the protest or any political expression in the national park, then we are going to head into the one of the national park, and this is the Indonesia version. I'm sure about it's very clear, but basically we're going to hold our flag or whatever the park, the slogan, the banner into the nearest national park in Taipei, which is Yangming Mountain National Park. And we are going to hike. We're going to hike the mountain and go into the area and then express our opinion. Okay, so we and this also a mountain hiking trip with our friends and volunteers and many friend groups. So you can see the photo there, actually the volunteers and our friend groups who are supporting the unconditional basic income, and also the friends that are the Tibetan group and the people supporting the Taiwan independence movement. Friends are all joining us and going to hiking this time. And then we hike and go into the top of the mountain in that Yangming mountain, and take the photo of every flag and every banner that we brought, and try to express our opinion. There are all the you can see there are very many different kind of the opinion in that flag, and then we go back. And then we found that actually in the beginning, we found that, oh, there are actually two young police following us. And but they are all the police that are all dressed like the other hiking people in the mountain. And then when we got in the top of the mountain, they started to chat with us and asking about, oh, can you explain about this flag, what this flag mean? What do you mean by this policy your organization is against with? Can you so they're like chatting with us and learning about what we want to say. And then after we take a photo and finish the event, we went back from the mountain, and the police also following us, and they have nothing to do but to chat with us. So they actually at first, the reason why we try to we aim to go into the national park area is that we try to challenging the regulation and try to let the authority of the national park to find us with any punishment. And then we'll use this punishment as a public interest litigation, as a way to go to the court to sue that this regulation is injustice. This is what we planned at first. So we are actually very excited about whether we can get punished. But at the end, when we come back from the mountain and go back to the bus station with the police, they are start to chat with us, and what they say is that actually, your action is too small, and this is not very conflict or very very bad being known by others. So actually, our boss, which means their supervisor, they just don't want to punish you because this is a too small thing. So they also mean that you don't have to worry, but I also think that this is the thing that are very small. They don't want to waste any time and human right resource on this very small case just to want to make another trouble for them. So basically, there are something has been shown on this example. The first thing is that actually the regulation of the national park is not in the part of the assembly law or any other law. So it's actually a very small level, a very low level regulation. But the regulation has already claimed some new forbidden regulation against anyone want to protest. So this is actually the new thing that happened during the very long term of the democratization of the Taiwan society, that actually the law didn't change for very long time, but the new regulation has been coming up, and or even the new relationship between the, for example, like the shopping mall or the new area that are actually controlled by the business or the company. They are actually have their own way to regulate the public space. So they will become the new person, or this kind of the new regulation will become the new new controller of the public space. This is the first thing about the location. And the second part is the civil servants enforcement of the how do they practice their power. So actually in this case, we can saw that actually police are, you can see that police coming to the mountain with us, and they try to grab the information from us. And so this is the reason why they asking question about us. But they didn't do too much thing about like, for example, like asking about our ID number. They didn't do it. They just want to know what we are thinking, so that maybe they can go back to make their boss know what about conditions. I think this the at first the mission that have been designed from their supervisor, and they also they are also willing to share some information with us. For example, like they don't think we will get punished on this action because it's very small. Like some of the information like this, they are still willing to share it with us. So which means that actually, because compare with the directly forbidden the group with like 10 or 20% 20 people of the NGO workers, forbidden them to go into the mountain and become a very big news. It will be much easier than just sending two very young policemen and following them all time, and then maybe just not monitoring. They are monitoring us as well, but they are also like just maybe because it's the easiest way to control the whole condition, and if there's any trouble later, they can just more easily to let the, for example, like the media or the supervisor or the higher supervisor to know about the condition and say that actually we are control this condition. Don't worry. Like this is actually their motivation of monitoring the NGO's work. So basically, this is the most of the protests that will happen when you are in Taipei, especially in Taipei. I will mention later about the difference between different part of Taiwan. But basically, because the photo right now show the different two cases, they are still showing the risk about if you go to the protest, you will still maybe able to arrest by the police in different reasons. The left hand is the one that happened in the New Taipei City, which is the different side of the Taipei City. And in that area, the police compared with the police in Taipei, they are like more unfriendly. And maybe in that specific case that this is a case of the eviction of a local park. So the people are just sitting there and express their opinion. But in that case, actually, all the people are being arrested, but under the name of the criminal law, not only under the name of the Assembly Act. And the right hand, there's another case about the protester who are claiming the rights for the motorcycle. Motorcycle can use the different land in Taiwan because there are some level restrict the motorcycle to go to the freeway or the high speed rate. So this is the action they are doing, is that they will directly violate the regulation and ride the motorcycle on the highway, and they are being arrested later, several days later, for they are being claiming that they are violate the criminal law of the safety reason. So these are actually just all the cases that are being arrested or being accused by the criminal law, but not the assembly law. Okay, so we are going back to the frameworks of the law frameworks of the law in Taiwan about the protest. So let me just go back to a very historical things, and so which is going back to the established history of the Taiwan Association for Human Rights. And the reason I'm going to talk about this part is because that I want to also let everybody know a little bit about the historical reason about why the Assembly Act looks like this right now in Taiwan, and what this law has affected the protester and activists in Taiwan right now. Okay, so we are going to back a little bit self-introduction about Taiwan Association of Human Rights. We are established in 1984, and the martial law ended in Taiwan in 1987. So we are actually one of the most earliest human rights NGO in Taiwan history. In that time, there are many all the NGO are established illegally because there's no law allowed the NGO to establish. Okay, so you can see that in that time of under the martial law is still affected. The mission compared to the vision right now, what TAR has done is very different. But we are just, but the issue that still remain for very, very long time in Taiwan is the assembly and association, because of the law still didn't change for this like 40 some more than 40 years. And okay, this is the historical document, and I maybe do a little bit Indonesia translation right now. This is actually the press conference that post on the magazine that TAR has been published 40 years ago when TAR is established. And in that time, like you can see that in that time, the journalists would just ask the TAR about the question like, oh, there are already another human rights association called Chinese Association for Human Rights, and which is actually the people who are pro KMT. That time they established this Chinese association. They're actually doing this, try to that's the people who are supporting the Taiwan independent issues people to let them not to get the legal position to establish a new group. So this is like beside the legal way, the KMT government in that time were also using this kind of the strategy to stop the civil society to growing up in that time. Okay, and this is a picture that the when in that time the people will protest against the KMT government ruling. And by the way, the gentleman here, I think this one is the first chairman in TAR, and he's a lawyer. And this is a picture that actually right after the end of the martial law, the next year the Assembly Act has been passed, and then the next year in 1989 the act of the Association Act also passed. And so in under this historical reason, the people will always consider that every limited has been written in these two articles. They are all the forbidden against the civil society's action. And this is very clear that actually these two laws, and also including the national security law in that time, they are all the approach that the KMT government tried to make the people to become fear of joining every protest or any association to join the social movement. This is the way that actually the reason why the act has been established in that time. And by the way, this is also the photo that show the people to protest against the Association Act, and you can see that actually the photo, the banner inside there are saying people are trying to say that every citizen will have the right to claiming that Taiwan independent, because in that time Taiwan independent is a constitutional violation action against in that time's regulation. Okay, so actually right after the Assembly Act has been passed, it has always become like an iconic law that had been sought by the society to become the one of the most iconic streak against the civil society. So like, for example, like TAR and many of the NGO, we are all trying to let the Assembly Act to become more to become reduce, or even though it's better to let the act become delete by the government. So, and this is all Chinese, but I also like let the AI help to have a Indonesian version of the notice of the protest. Is actually that we write funeral notice for the Assembly Act, and in that action we make a funeral for the Assembly Act. And this gentleman, he's the chairperson in that time. And after this time of the action, our chairperson, right, in that time in 2008, he has been charged for violation of the Assembly Act. like this is like a ridiculous story of showing how the act has how the Assembly Act has affected on the people who go into the protest. Okay, so but we just mentioned that actually in the first story I have told you that actually I think people can hear about. It seems like police are the people that can like negotiate or chatting with, or it seems like even though the regulation is there, but the police will just decide not to punish Tar because they don't want to make another trouble than to like fight against with us, or because they're going to run. They are going to have more work for them. So actually, maybe you can already notice that there are many difference in the practice compared with the difference of the law. So this is the part of actually I'm going to explain first a little bit about what right now, if you want to hold a whole legally assembly in Taiwan, what you should do first. You are going to first, according to the law, you have to get the concession document from the owner or the manager of the location. So maybe the location is owned by the public or the national or the national or the city hall, and you are going to have to get the permission from the city hall. And actually, this part is easier because, for example, like Taipei City Hall, they already have a website, and you can choose the land you want to asking for the permission, and then you can just running the process by the website. But if you are living like outside the Taipei, like Kaohsiung or the south part of the Taiwan, because many of the I think most of the the area in Taiwan, they actually don't have the website. So you will still have to make a phone call, but it will be possible for you to asking the consent for the consent note if the land is owned by the public. The trouble will become that if you want to land some places that is actually owned by the privacy or the individual person, it's actually most of the time it will be harder for you to get the consent document, especially if you are going to protest. For example, like you are going to protest against some CEO of the company who are doing some of the labor issue, and you want to protest against the CEO. It will be much harder than just directly asking the permission of the land from the government department. And that's just if you are finished this part, and then you're going to the second part, that you're going to get the permission of the assembly and parade in the police to get the permission from the assembly itself. So you will get the land first, and then you will get the permission of the assembly later. And most of the time, actually, the police station will not reject the case. So, but actually, still some of the case cannot get permission from the police. Then the problem will still become, for example, like you did it, or well, for the most of the example is that the people cannot get the consension document of the location. This is the most frequent happened cases recently. And then you are going to the assembly, and in theory, if you will practice under the whole permission that are saying, that you can safely finish the assembly. But this is in theory. And we just mentioned that actually still right now, for example, like TAR and many of the NGO friends, Taiwanese NGO friends, we still consider that because all the limits, this whole limits are established right after the martial law release. And so people right now will still consider that the Assembly Act is a law that is not justice. So, for example, like TAR, if we go into a protest by our own, I mean, only for the people that are TAR staff or the Taiwanese people, will just consider that we don't give a shit of this this permission. We'll just directly go to protest. If the police or the authority want to punish us, then we'll be very happy to have the punish, because we are going to the court and sue them. But this is our consider. But if there's an action, if there's an act, there are have the other people that are foreigner, or if there are people that are actually going to the street first time. For example, like we are having a new case about the land eviction happening in Taiwan. The people they may not be familiar with the law. Then people will become nervous, or because this is the foreigners' first trip to Taiwan. It's just unreasonable for people to join to a whole illegal action for them, because it's too risky for them. Then under this condition, then maybe we will consider about whether we should get the permission first. This is so basically whether we should get the permission is the first thing that we are going to consider about the affection, and what we think we are going to we want to pursue during our action. This is the thing that we will think about first before we decided to do the permission or not. And also, you think the whole, even though the whole process is going, the worst condition may still happen. Then this is the picture of that happened during the so-called Sunflower movement in 2014. Actually, in that time, at the end, because yes, that time the movement, the most part of the movement is actually didn't get the permission, because it's possible for them during that time. So at the end, actually the second part of the protest, when the people going to the exactly Yuan, the people has been beaten by the police. And this is actually still a very significant cases that for people for Taiwanese people to recognize the violence that the Taiwanese police can do. Even though it's very hard for the police right now to beat people every time in every protest, but for us, we still want to remind the Taiwanese people that the police in Taiwan, they are not always as friendly as they are looking like. We are not saying that the police are all very bad person, or they are all like the people who have the very sick personality. We are not saying that. We are saying that even though the police, they are just following what they have been told, they are obeying the thing that the law they say they are doing. They are still because there's a systematically reason for them to just destroy the civil societies and the civil action, just because of the system let them has a possibility to do so. So by the way, during all this time, we got a picture from here that we know that this person is beating the people in that day, but still for like more than 20 years later, today we still don't know who this guy he is. We don't know. And so we are going. I'm going to explain a little bit more detail about I think the most the second thing and the third thing that we just mentioned, and I think is also the most of the argument and the conflicts will happen during the assembly right now in Taiwan. That will happen. The first part is the location, and the second part is the enforcement of the police, and that we'll talk about later. This first part about location is actually the law. The assembly law itself still have the forbidden area that cannot hold the protest, like the picture. But because they are Chinese, so let's just go to take some example. The first one is this is President. I think here. I'm sorry, it's so small. Here, it's actually the President House, and the photo looks very far away. It's because that actually President House is, I think, is one of the most iconic forbidden area right now for the assembly. But still, people when the people are, they think the policy should be responsible by the president or the ruling party, still the president house will become the target for the protester. They want to claim, they want to let the ruling party and the president to know what the people sound. So actually, or just regardless of the protest, actually, for example, like the political party, when there are election, the exactly the same role is actually the very popular stage for the election. During the election, when any of the political party, they will just want to hold the assembly here, because this very iconic that, for example, like we are electing the president, then we are going to assembly here, right? Because we are just want to let our candidate to become the new president inside their house. So this still happen very often. So, and it's also possible for the political party to host the legal assembly during the election time, because they can follow the way to make the application of the assembly. And there are also the exception regulation for the authority to allow this happen. But for the most of the protests, it will be very hard for the people to just go into as close as they want. So they will have to maintain this kind of a space during the on the road of the before the president house, and the fence that hold by the police, they will just look like this. And also, because this road is impossible to get the permission of the permit of the assembly law. So, but the police will still be still able to negotiate that outside of the fence that will still the protester can still hold a protest, but because they are illegal. So you can see that in the right hand side there's a pro card that's saying, oh, this is Chinese word, and saying that your behavior is illegal. This is a warning for the protester to say that, to show them that actually you are illegal. But if the condition can be controlled by the police, I mean, if the score or the movement is not too aggressive, what I mean too aggressive, that is that if the person didn't, for example, like try to rush into the president house or beating people, if this kind of thing did happen, then they will be considered as be able to control by the police. Then the warning, they will still do the warning, but they will also the police will try to let the assembly end, and also the protester will do so. I mean, this kind of the whole relationship between the police and the protester, they are all motivate relationships that have been changed during the past 20 to 30 years. It's more like a relationship that had been negotiated by the protester and the police. So actually, the law didn't say that police should do so, or the protester will be able to do so. It's actually all the results that have been negotiated between these two different parts, or even like because of the society also thinking that this is something that the society may be able to accept. So this is like the result that the whole Taiwanese society has been adding out developed. Okay, then this is a second spot that having forbidden of the assembly is AIT. AIT means we cannot, because Taiwan has some national problems, so we cannot have a so-called embassy, but this is actually embassy. This is the America institution in Taiwan, which is the embassy in Taiwan. And this because all the embassy are the forbidden area in Taiwan. So, for example, like this protest is the protest against the Israel and America's United States policy against Gaza. So during this protest, people can also actually protest outside of the one block, just like similar with this picture, that people will just stay far away outside of the officer, and But in that time, in that action, people want to like moral the victim in the Gaza, and so the as you can see, the people want to send the flower in front of the office. So the police will try not to let too many people to approach the office. So at the end, as the pictures show, we can see that only one lady can go into in front of the office and sending the flower on the street. Okay, and the last part is the police power. We just mentioned that the police is not able to beat every protester every time. Actually, the reason why the result is this result is coming out because of the working and the mission that the police have to responsible for is too much right now compared with like 30 years ago. But at the same time, the police has reduced the amount of the police is reduced. So actually, and also the people are also being assigned to the different work beside beating or beating the protester. So compared to 30 years ago, we do in that 30 years ago there is a crew of the police. Their job is to fight against the protester, but that crew has dissolved during this 30 years ago. So right now there's no enough people to do so. Then the police will choose other strategy to negotiate with the protester, which means like, for example, negotiate with those guys so that we can have less people to finish the mission. Or maybe we can let them to let the fence to do some work. If the fence can already block the protester, then maybe it will be not we will not need to make so many police to become the part of the fence, because the fence can do something. And also sometimes this is the car from the Taipei City of the police station, but sometimes if the police is not enough, maybe we'll just use this police car to get some police outside of Taipei, and then we'll have the supporter from the police will have the supporter outside of Taipei, or maybe the other distriction administrative distriction will also have need some help from the other part of Taiwan. Okay, then we also mentioned that because there's no just the human rights resource and the money and the also including weapon, the all amounts that or the tool that the police can use are just not enough for them to fulfill the daily mission. So actually at the end, as the picture show, some of the cases, if the protester was going to be removed by the police, before they do so, they will not use the mental tools to cut the people. Instead, they will use this plastic zip tie to tie the protester. And even though the plastic ban has some legal issue, because the law didn't say that plastic ban is a part of the police weapon that they can use, but the reason why police want to use it is because it's very cheap and very easy to get it. You can just buy it in any store on the street. So this picture actually happened in Taiwan. Tainan is one of the big city in the south part of Taiwan, and also you can see that this not in the south part or in outside of the Taipei. There are actually the police the police attitude will become more violence compared with the police in Taipei, because the reason is that just they don't have enough experience to look, for example, like negotiate with the practice to negotiate with the protester, or have more strategy or more people to hold at the same time to holding on the machine. So there will be more possible for the police to get into a more violent way, try to control the condition. So this is so. For example, like for TAR, if you asking the suggestion from us about how to do the evaluation of the risk on the street, we will also ask you about, well, which part of Taiwan are you going to hold the protest. And this is also one very important information for us to make to judge about how much the risk is going to be have. In Taipei, will be maybe slower, or maybe in the city side you'll be safer compared to the police that in the countryside or in some or New Taipei City will be more dangerous compared with Taipei. For example, like this. Okay, so we cannot move. Okay, so I think this is the whole thing I want to share about the law part, the law part and the practice part about the condition in Taiwan. And we can talk about later if you got any question about Taiwan's condition. And thank you for the listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wangsi. We did learn about how you tried to have a protest in Mount Jade main peak, and how there is a regulation that prohibit activities regulation in the domain of national park. And also in the past there was a problem with Chinese Association for Human Rights, and TAR was questioned why it was built, indicating the restriction of NGO in the past. And there we also learn about the step to have protest in Taiwan, and how in several area it can be negotiable, but the police will give a warning sign and try to end the assembly. And maybe next we can invite Muhammad Isnur from YLBHI. And yes, and can you turn off your screen, Wangsi? I think it still turns on. Okay, thank you. Okay, the time is yours.
Hello, Amira.
Hi.
Hello, Angsi. Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to on cam, but I worried about my unstable signal because now I'm in a mountain. So if I have problem with the signal, so I will off cam, yeah, for the discussion. I'm sorry for this. So the fourth is, I think the discussion is very interesting. It's and important for us, for Indonesian and for Taiwanese. What happened because we have a lot of similarity between two countries. We are facing the erosion of civic space here. We are facing the declining of democracy, not only in two countries, both of countries, but also we are facing in globally, in US, in Hong Kong, in another country. So we should discuss how we can compare and we can make true solidarity between each activist, yeah, between Indonesia and Taiwan, I think. And Taiwan as a country, maybe one of the highest rank in democracy, or also can give apa ya, facilitating to grab and facilitating the activists among the Asia, because we should building the solidarity in Asia country, because we only have a solidarity in facing our government, our military situation. Yeah, and this time I will share the critical analysis legal framework for expression and assembly, because the problem not only in the field, in Indonesia experience, we facing the very difficult situation, very hard situation, very repressive, with the police, with the army, but we also having the problem with the legal about the regulation, and I will share about this year. Next, Amira, please. Yeah, yeah, in the executive summary I will share. So Indonesia possesses robust constitutional guarantees for the civil liberties, but now yet a web of Fagul laws and punitive law shift in enforcement and actively dismantling these rights. So the constitution and the ratification of human rights is only like tiger on the paper, implement in the field. Yeah, so we're facing the legal ambiguity, we facing the regulatory overreach, and we also facing the punitive enforcement. Even like contrast mentioned, we are in the last year in 2025 is very crazy number, very crazy violation, yeah, by police and military. Next. So in the first next, we already knew Indonesia have amendment the constitution, we call it UUD, Undang-Undang Dasar 45, and there are several articles guarantees on freedom to associate, to assemble, and express the opinions. Even the guarantee come from not only post the amendment, also guaranteed since 1945. Yeah, the article 28. Yeah, it's a part of Hatta and Shahrir fighting in the forum. Yeah, in 1945, and also after the amendment in 2000. Yes, we are enlarging and strengthening the article because the numbers of article from the UDHR is import by Constitution of Indonesia. So we are using this article to our advocacy, going to the constitutional court, going to the public hearing, and another so on. And not only the constitution, we also having the several law. It's also guaranteeing, yeah, and protecting the democratic rights, yeah, because expression and assembly is manifestation of democratic rights. We have the law number 9 of 1998. It is the law on Reformation era, on Habibie era, and I think it's good enough for our democracy. And after years, we also having the human rights law in the article number 24. The law also guarantees assembly of for peaceful process here. And not only the law and the constitution, we also having international commitment. So Indonesia almost ratify all the international covenant, yeah, for human rights, yeah, and it's become law actually. But the problem, some article in the international ratification not following by the old law, the previous law. So we facing ambiguity. In part, we recognize the human rights regulation, but the other part we rejecting. We still using the authoritarian regulation come from the Sukarno and Suharto era. Next, Amira. Yeah, it's for example, when we talk about the barriers for the expression, because the assembly also relating to the expression. Yeah, when we talk about 2025, lot of the activists catch by the police and criminalized by the prosecutor because their expression, they are support the demonstration. It's very relating when we are facing the barrier. So we for example, we facing one of the number the highest rank criminalized the activists, the journalists, and a lot of demonstrator, and also the academic, the academic community. It's come from the electronic information and transaction law, ITA. Yeah, it's enacted in 2008 and amended in 2016 and 2023. So the number of article is the primary tool for criminalizing, because online insult and defamation, when we are suggesting to demonstration, is you are a propaganda, you are as a provocateur in social media. So some article is, we call it pasal karet, yeah, rubber articles, because vague provision. So it's the article is a subjective interpretation, yeah, multi interpretation. So ambiguity remains a weapon. What the divine of menyerang nama baik, ya, the defamation. What nama baik? What reputation? Do the police it shouldn't have a reputation like that? So, for example, Pedro and Harik Anhar and some of the activists the last year criminalization with the ITA during the August demonstration. Next. So when we talk about the also the expression, we facing the new criminal code. Also similar, it's correlate with the honor and dignity defense. Yeah, the parliament and the president has reviving the article about the dignity of president. Actually, this article had cancelled by Constitutional Court in 2006, but they are reviving again. Yeah, and also not only the honor or dignity of the president, also it's prohibits insult against the government or state institution. So when we talk about the demonstration, we are sometime orator statement or oral statement during the demonstration. It's also be careful with the some of article when we talk when mention about the parliament. It's also will be criminalized, potential to be criminalized. Yeah. So the impact is reintroduction of colonial style protection of power. Yeah. So it's outlawing some political critic, not only from KUHP, we also facing from the intelligence law, because they are using term it's national security. So but what kind of the divine they are divine the national security. So with this authority, they are using the intelligence secrets as a tools here. They sometimes kidnap and sometimes also hijacking our social media account like that, and also threatening the activists. In the last month after Sumatra of ecological disaster, a lot of activists criticize how the government to handling the disaster. Yeah, but lot of activists, lot of social media influencer threatening and intimidating with some of we don't know the people, and until now the police also don't do anything with this intimidation. Next, Amira. And we also facing the new barriers to assembly. When we talk about the law number 1988, yes, we have to requirement to notice the government 72 hours before. But this article, when we talk about the requirement, it's only administrative. The police only canceling and mention about and talk about to the people to stopping the demonstration. But in the practice, the police usually notification treat as a permission. So usually the police canceling and stopping the demonstration using you don't have a permission. Even the law is only a notification. So we facing the immediate disbandment. But the situation now after new criminal code, we facing the article number 256 here, because it become a criminal when you don't give a notification and its impact to the public order chaotic situation, it become a criminal and you can to be prison for 6 months. So the new KUHP, the new criminal code, transform a bureaucratic failure into a jail-able offense for the demonstrator. So we are facing the big barriers now, yeah, from the new KUHP. It's implement since January on this year, 2026. Yeah. Next. Yeah, it's the also when we talk about the law number 9, number 9 from 9 of years 1998. Yeah, we facing the sum of strategic zone, but in this law, the law is still giving the permit to our make a demonstration in the night, but when we talk about the police regulation from number 7 years by 2012, the police have a regulation, the demonstration only after 6 p.m. So this regulation become a new regulation and rejecting and canceling the law in the upper position. Yeah. And they are become repressive. They use tear gas. They use the water cannon to canceling, to stopping the demonstration. So it's become the tools of repression, the tools of stopping for our assembly. It's danger because usually they use the special task force. We call it BRIMOB. It is fully. Sometimes they are using the arm, yeah, for the force arm to catch and using the force power, yeah, to catch the demonstrator. Next. So yeah, so I used before the police regulation number 2 of 2012. It's become justifies repressive dispersal contrary to the spirit of law. Yeah. So and also in the field, in the other issue, when we talk about land dispute and also in Papua, they are become heightened repression. So for Papuan people, when they are doing the demonstration, usually criminalized by the Makar article. Yeah, even they don't do anything. It's only peacefully assembly, not flagging the Bintang Kejora flag like that. But the police and the military usually very, very repressive to the Papuan people. Next. And also we facing now the situation about the personal data protection. Yes, we are it's in the one side it's a progressive law because model on EU GDPR, theoretically correct recurring consent, but also we facing the government with the authoritarian character. So we are worried when they are can access for data public interest or security without consent. So it's the situation more danger because the state is surveillance the people, under undefined security needs, under undefined enforcing the law. So it's become a tools for authoritarian, become a tools for Prabowo regime like that. Thank you. Next. Yeah, it's number on based on our report in the last year. More than 10 people deaths. It's resulting from live ammunition, and also on the riot, one of the people, Afan, is broken and beat by the police car. And more than 1,000 people injured and clashed with security force and bring to the hospital, and more than 600 people also bring to the court and criminalized by the police and the prosecutor. For example, also in 2019, more than 10 people died during the riot in 2019. When some people and the apparatus from the army and police doing passes in Surabaya. Next. So the situation like this in legal framework, my friend. So from constitutional right, assembly is protected by law. No, illegal by nature. Because if you are a demonstrator, is security threat. So demonstration view as inherently criminal. For in apparatus paradigm. So after the violation, after the police brutality, also they have systemic impunity. No accountability for officer misconduct, and also lack of redress. No restoration of dignity for victims or state violence. So the victim struggle by themselves in every area. So it's become a traumatic for a lot of students today. Because there are a lot of injuries in their body, in their mentality. Next. So the Precipice criminal code is become illegal control now. So article from the new criminal code is changing. Now non-compliance for notification is now a crime, and lot of in new KUHP also cause disturbance to public interest, and creates commotion, pasal karet, rubber article. So it's also the police and the army in many ways, they are trying to giving a cyber and the control, because there are many cyber troops, and giving intimidation through social media. Next. So we are facing the huge gap analysis. The gap, because the promise from the constitution, the promise from the law, but broken by the reality, by the new KUHP, by the police practice. Thank you. The last maybe. So the recommendation is we have to reform for regulatory. So we have to updating the police regulation to align with human rights norm, human rights ratification, and law number 9 from 1998. And we also have to prioritize about the police compliance with the and cancel all internal rules, from repression modes to rights protecting modes, like that, and educate all officers, including BRIMOB, on human rights standards, and the accountability, strict evaluation of use of force reports, because we need monitoring, we need oversight, because internally oversight is not effective mechanism for police now. Next. The last is the legal framework. The conclusion is the legal framework for expression in Indonesia is defined by a dangerous contradiction. Robust constitutional guarantees are being systematically undermined by subordinate laws and culture of impunity. So with the new criminal code approaching, the window to restore the manifestation of democratic rights is closing narrow by narrow. Thank you, Amira.
Thank you for your presentation. We already learned about the foundation, which is the constitutional promise from the Article 28, 28E, and 28F, and also the law number 9 and number year 1998 and law 39 number year 1999. And we also learned about the digital trap and how the 2011 intelligence law criminalized whistleblower and journalists disclosing public interest information, and how the new KUHP or the criminal code have honor and dignity defense of president and vice president, and there is a new barriers of assembly that there was a notification loophole in 2026 criminal code, where it used to be administrative order but it become the criminal offense up to 6 months in prison. And there's also a selected enforcement where land dispute and separatist protests have more risks than the other. And next, since we still have the general discussion and Q&A session, I hope that you don't mind that if I mix both of it. And for the general discussion itself is, maybe the speaker can share about the state protection of human rights defenders in Indonesia and Taiwan, and how the anti-slap mechanism in places currently. And also in YouTube, we have a question that I'll read it to you. Given that Taiwan had history of being under martial law, to what extent does the military presence or militarization influence the exercise of rights of freedom and assembly in present-day Taiwan? Maybe Wangsi can start to answer.
Okay. Thank you for friend's question, and I think in the on the appearance, I think for example, like the forbidden law, or how the police has arranged the arrange the police on the spots. Actually, I think many of them are still remain from the martial law period. But there's one thing that actually I think Taiwan is one of the country that the group of the police and and the military are separate for the very historical, because in the back in the like when KMT first came to Taiwan, actually these two part has become have a historical combined, but they successfully to be separated to different parts. So so far there's just no evidence shows that the martial the military will will appear in the protest spots. Well, this first thing. But the second thing is that actually, because in the very long term that the police system is still controlled by the very martial law style law during the past time. So there are still many systems that are just remain the same. But I think the second part is the most, and I think it's also the most important, maybe bad legacy left during the martial law time is actually, I think this is I still right now the Taiwanese society will have a very unfriendly attitude toward any protester, because this is just what's the attitude that during the whole like white terrorist and the whole martial law period that the government has let the whole Taiwanese citizen to think that if we get involved into any protest, it will be very dangerous. Or if we get involved with any of the political activity or the social movement, this is a very dirty and dangerous job or things that so we should avoid it as possible as we can. I think this is a very cultural and very psychologically left has been become and make the most of the time. I think the not us, but the majority of the Taiwanese people will still remain this kind of the attitude and try and use this kind of the attitude to distinguish like for example like which of the society is the so-called good society and become more become okay to support. But out of this area, there are all the people. They are just make the bad. So social movement, they are just make the society become more and more mess and chaos. So I think this is a still our culture just and make the thought of the Taiwanese people to remain the same thought as the martial law just left to us. Yeah, I think this is my answer to the online question. And Amira, should I just go on with the human rights defenders protection in Taiwan?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, no problem. And okay, in the law, there's nothing. Because so far there's just no human right defender is just still not a very well-known concept in the Taiwanese government system. They are only during the past 10 years because this idea is just coming from the United Nations system and also the universal human rights area. This become a new concept. So I think in this period we are still trying to let the government to notice that the existence of the human rights defenders. And the second part is also the following from the concept that we should have some protection to this kind of people. Otherwise, if I think in this condition right now in Taiwan, there are only, for example, like the human right National Human Rights Committee, which is one of the department of Taiwanese government. They are trying to they know this concept and trying to working with the civil society in Taiwan to introduce this concept into the government. And if without this concept, without this very new movement in Taiwanese government, I think if we really want to protect the human rights defender who are really facing the risk or they are facing the harassment right now, we will have to separate their phenomena and to try to get the suitable law to protect them. For example, like if one human rights defender they are being stalking by somebody, and if this is also the issue that related with the sexual issue, then maybe we can use the law right now, the anti-stalking law right now. But if this is not this kind of the phenomena or maybe some other issue, then we may go to have to looking for example, like we will have to report to police to try to protect the personal freedom safety. Otherwise, if it's not this kind of the phenomena, but they still facing the harassment by, for example, like country or the government in Taiwan, then maybe there will become another law that will deal with the concentration of the national to the citizen. But you will have to go through the court, and otherwise I think there's not a very systematic protest to the human rights defender in Taiwan so far. It will become very separate and become case by case, I think. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wangsi, for the explanation. Maybe Fier or Isnur can explain the situation in Indonesia.
Yeah, Javier, better, please.
Okay, Javier.
Okay. Sorry, what is the question? I'm not really listening.
How's the state protection for human rights defenders in Indonesia and anti-slap mechanism currently?
Actually, in Indonesia, we have a National Commission for Human Rights, also known as Komnas HAM. Back in 2016, I guess, or 18, they are publishing the standard and standard ruling for the norm regarding to the protection of human rights defender. Or in bahasa, they are call it Standar Norma dan Pengaturan SNP number 6 for the human rights defender. But since this document, even if it's published and launched by the official commission of the Indonesia or Komnas HAM, but since they were not the law or the legal document, so they cannot be cited in the reason for not mm, for not charging the human rights defender with any of criminal act that was charges to them. But here's the thing. I guess in Indonesia, uh, because of the definition and the recognition of human right defender wasn't defined and recognized by the legal instrument, any legal instrument, such as there are no protection specifically. No, there's no specific protection for human rights defender in human rights law example. So the construction of the human rights defender as same as the original people or the any of civilians. But the problem if the state uh, regulating the human rights defender or maybe making it like a job that needs to be certified and so on and so on. There are potential there are potentially what is it called, misuse of the uh, the the ministry or the commission that give the human rights defender recognition, just like the advocate or engineer, like some type of a job. It's not gonna be accessible anyone anymore for anyone. But in the other area, it giving more strengthened uh, security, at least for the legal terms for guarantee the works of human rights defender. But I don't think that is important to look if it's either the human rights defender are recognized or guaranteed by the law, but how the state and their apparatus uh, using the criminal code, especially for the new criminal code that enacted in back to 2023 and effectively implied in 2nd of January, to criminalize the citizen, the civilian. and also the human rights defender, because in my humble opinion, there's no specialty for becoming the human rights defender. You just only needs to defend your rights, your human rights, and then become the human rights defender. So the thing is how the state using the criminal justice system to criminalize, not to bring justice, but to criminalize the something that is fundamentally is given by the nature to prescribe in the constitution. Maybe that is the update. So in the past next year or several years ahead, there are some uh, uh, attempt to revision or amendment the human rights law in Indonesia to inserting the legal framework and guarantee for the human rights defender, but with all the consequences. Maybe that's. Thank you, Mira.
Thank you, Javier and Wangsi. Now since we almost finished, I would like to invite all of the speakers to give the reflection and closing statements. And maybe Javier can start.
Okay, maybe same as my statement before. So the thing is, in Indonesia, if we're talking about civic space and human rights defender or any civil liberties issues, um, the projection is that I think some of those violations are still going to redundant in the past few years, at least until the 2029. Um, the thesis is if the president right now are going to use a military method to deal with the civilian people, they're not gonna be a smooth way of government government activities, because the resistance of the public was never gonna be uh, never gonna be hard enough to hold by the police or the military without uh, without mm, resulting the civil liberties violation or even death. So yes, we're gonna be oppressed this year and maybe 1 or 2 years later. But I think the most positive things is the people, or yes, the people or the civil society are gonna be more grouping or uprising the solidarity among each other. So even the oligarchy or the regime are consolidating the power. We're also, as a civil society, as a people, could also consolidating the power that our bare minimum power is being aware and having solidarity with each other. Maybe that's my closing statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Fier. Yes, can you Isnur, can you tell us about your closing statement?
Yeah, thank you for this webinar. So we know the detailed situation about Taiwan now, not only Indonesia. And we need more strengthening our connection, our solidarity more than before, yeah. And also connecting with not only Taiwan, also with another country in Asia. So during the winter session, yeah, on democratic, yeah, during this time, so we need more also send the solidarity and send the statement together, yeah, and trying to connection each other with the activists, and also trying to bridge the communication with another community, with the journalists, with the academic community, with the maybe politician, to how we regaining our democracy. Thank you for tonight.
Thank you, Isnor. Yes, Wangsi.
Okay, and thank you for this today's opportunity. That's because I think it's truly that Taiwan. There's one condition about Taiwan right now is that I think we do have some of the majority opinion thinking about maybe this is good enough for Taiwan's social movement or the social development. So let's talk about some other thing like the economic issue or the issue against China. Of course, me personally just want China government to destroy as soon as possible. But I think also combined with the international trend about the conservative trend is coming back, and also the Taiwan has facing a context of the threaten from the China. So the Taiwanese society started to thinking about some of the very going back method. For example, like we should control some of the anti-government speech or the anti-government or the communism speech to control them as more than before. For example, like this kind of the trend is just making the result of the shrinking of the civil society and the social movements space. So during the whole period that maybe Taiwanese people were thinking about the other countries' condition just don't relate with us that much, but actually do, because what, for example, like Indonesia, in the past starting from past few years ago, friends from Indonesia has started to uh, uh, knowing about the future will become worse and worse. So, and also the Indonesian friends started to prepare for this, prepare for what going to happen. And I think also the Taiwanese society will also may need to do so. Otherwise, I think because since we just mentioned that the law in Taiwan is still not healthy and strong enough for prepare for the and going out from the old school law framework. So it will still be possible to going back, maybe in the very fast way. So yeah, I think this is a inspirement from, especially from the experience in Indonesia. And thank you for tonight's company. Thank you.
Thank you, Wangsi, and all of the speaker for sharing. As we come to the end of today's webinar, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, which is Wangsi, Javier Maramba, and Muhammad Isnur for sharing their experience. All of the participants for your active engagement and the organizing team for making this event possible. And we hope today's discussion has been both informative and inspiring for all. And once again, thank you for joining us today and have a wonderful day ahead and goodbye. Yay!